Hello and welcome. This is Master. In this episode, the topic is knowing your opponent and yourself. What does that mean? There is an old saying that says, if you know your enemy and yourself, you can win 100 out of 100 in battle. What you really must understand that sparring isn't fighting against an actual human being just like you. Without your opponent, there is no sparring. Every one of us have unique physical and mental personalities. In your fighting strategy in sparring must be prepared depends on your opponent's physical shape, personal specialties, and fighting styles in every match. In general, you can analyze your opponent as offensive or defensive. However, in detail, technical aspect, your opponent's style can be countless. That's what makes sparring challenging and interesting. Then let's briefly talk about what you really need to know about your opponent. First of all, you need to know whether your opponent is offensive or defensive. Let's say your opponent is offensive, then you need to know what is your opponent's first move in attack and follow-ups. Simply knowing this, your fight can be so much easier. Then let's say if your opponent is a defensive style, then you need to know what is your opponent favorited as a counter kick. Let's make an example. When you attack with a roundhouse kick, knowing whether your opponent is going to counter with a back kick or roundhouse kick, you could increase much more of a winning chance. Knowing yourself is equally important, strengths and weaknesses. More importantly, your skills and tactics should be developed and prepared according to your physical and mental conditions. If you are tall, then you should develop the skills that using your long legs and long arms. And if you are short, then you should develop the tactics that using your fast footwork for in-fight to solve the disadvantage of the distance. Alright, now let's make one last example why knowing your opponent and yourself is so important. Let's say there are three players. Player A can beat player B. Player B can beat player C. Supposedly, player A is much superior than all to the other players. However, we often see player C beat player A. This is because of the theory of the relativity. Alright, keep in mind all the advices, and I will explain further in the future episode of Tactics. I will see you in the next episode.